So my greetings to all of you, beta. In our last lecture, we talked about flower. So we completed different parts of flower. That what are they? We talked about their role in flower. We talked about floral holes. What are the different terminologies we use and their meaning? We talked about the perigynous, epigynous, hypogynous ovary. We learned here about what was the formula we used to remember this?
Hot photo.
Yes. So always remember one thing, if ovary is at the top and thalamus is at the down, that type of ovary is known as superior ovary. And if ovary is at down and thalamus is on top, we call it inferior ovary. And if they are side by side, we will call it half superior or half inferior position. So we talked about calyx also, that how they can be polysepalous, gamosepalous, corolla, polypetalous, gamopetalous. We talked that perianth, which is doing dual purpose, it is a combination of calyx and corolla. We talked about valvate, twisted, imbricate. Here also we wrote it in the form of formula. We talked about androecium, gynoecium, placentation. Now we will talk today about inflorescence. So what exactly is inflorescence? Inflorescence, beta, is the arrangement of flower in a plant. You must have seen, for example, in case of rose or sunflower, there is a single flower, either at the tip of the plant or at the tip of the branch. Many a times it is observed that small flowers are at the bunch, in a bunch formation. It looks as if God created a bouquet. So it is evident that flowers can be arranged into different form depending on which plant they belong to. So what are the arrangements and what are the scientific terminology to describe them? That is the topic of discussion of today's lecture. So without wasting much time, we will move towards the terminology. So inflorescence is defined as how flowers are arranged in a reproductive axis. So this cluster of flowers, if they are arranged in a reproductive axis, which is called peduncle. So there is a difference between pedicel and peduncle. If it is a single flower, the stalk with which it is attached to the stem is called pedicel. And peduncle is a structure where group of flowers are arranged in a specific pattern, and that arrangement is called inflorescence. Okay. So if there is a single flower, for example, I told you about hibiscus or rose, we call it a solitary flower. And when produced in a group, the group is called inflorescence. So flowers are arranged in a specific manner. So why generally flowers are arranged in an inflorescence? What is the advantage of group being attached in a form where they are grouped together? First of all, they look attractive. You remember yesterday we observed tuberose. Do you remember?
Yes, ma'am.
So they are
Yes,
whenever they are in a bunch, they look attractive. So they get easily attracted by the birds or insects. And if a bird is coming and eating something from one flower, other flowers also touch its body part and the pollen can get transferred into more efficient way. Okay. Apart from that, uh, this improved chance of pollination The unique inflorescence gives us benefit of identification of them. We can easily identify which flower is this from the arrangement. Now, inflorescence can be of two types. One is cymose and other is racemose. So, what is the difference between these two? The racemose is a inflorescence in which it has an infinite inflorescence. Why? Because growth continues. How come? Because it is never having a terminal flower. How? Let me tell you. Consider there is a branch like this. Then there will be a flower from here. There will be a flower from here. So there will never be a presence of a last flower. So this branching will continue as far as possible. So that's why it is called indefinite or continued growth structure. Okay. So it is always not necessary that flowers will be arranged in acropetal succession. It may be an acropetal succession, means older flowers are at the down part and younger flowers are at the tip. Okay. Now, it is always centripetal in case of racemose inflorescence. What do we mean by this? Centripetal we call it because if you see that when the flower is opening, you know that difference between flower bud and flower.
Yes, ma'am.
So what is the difference?
Ma'am, the bud is closed and small in size, whereas the flower is broad in structure and open.
So during the bud stage, still there is development of reproductive part taking place. Once it is open, it is ready for fertilization in most of the cases. Okay. So if you see centripetal arrangement means the flower which are at the periphery, matlab towards the margin, okay, will be older and mature because they open earlier, and flower which are at the apex will be the younger. So that means you will have buds at these positions. So buds will be there at this position, and if you see the open flowers will be present at the lower part. So this is what is called centripetal arrangement. Okay. So that is all about racemose. Now we will be able to see the different types. Okay. Here is one example also. So basic idea about racemose is clear to all of you, beta?
Yes, ma'am.
So we will move ahead. So these are different racemose structure. You can see if there is single time branching, we call it raceme. In compound raceme, see there is branching once and then again there is branching. Let me choose some other color so that it will be more visible. So this is one branching. This is second time branching. Okay, so then we call it compound. It may be 3 times or 4 times also better. Okay, if the flowers are sessile, you know, I told you that flowers can have pedicel, they can be sessile. So what is the difference between this raceme and spike? Class? I wish Devanshi to answer me. Devanshi, can you answer the difference between raceme and spike? Are you there, Devanshi?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the definite difference between raceme and spike, beta? Look and speak. Anyone else wish to answer?
Ma'am, may I?
Ayushi raised hand first. Ayushi raised hand first. And Parv, I think answered. I heard your answer, beta. No problem. Let Ayushi speak first. Bolo Ayushi.
Ma'am, difference in the structure of spitule and in compound raceme. There are more than one structure in a single branch, but in raceme there is only single structure.
No, you missed the observation. Yes, Parv.
Ma'am,
Let Parv speak first. Because he spoke at the beginning only. Bolo Parv. I think Parv answered no.
Ma'am, मैं थी.
You wish to answer. Bolo.
मैम पिट्यूल नहीं है. रेसिम में
पिट्यूल नहीं
पिट्यूल
बोलते, पेडिसेल बोलते हैं. Petiole
Ma'am,
is
pedicel.
से है.
leaf, है ना? Pedicel. So these are sessile flowers. Understood? These
Yes,
flowers
ma'am.
in spike are sessile. So now we are talking about catkin. What is the difference between catkin and spike? Catkin is upside down hanging.
Ma'am, it is.
हाँ मैम.
Yes.
है ना? It is upside down hanging. So I request all of you, the best way of remembering this is drawing a diagram. If you draw a diagram, it will be very easy for you to remember them. In spadix also, the flowers are sessile, but they are having centrally a disc-shaped structure in which they are arranged. So then we call it spadix. Why umbel is called umbel?
मैम क्योंकि वो अम्ब्रेला शेप का होता है.
Umbrella shaped.
Umbrella shape. So in compound umbel, what is the difference? जो raceme or
Ma'am, it
compound
has
umbel?
branches.
Yes,
It
very
has
good.
sub-branches.
Branching is there. What is speciality of coryn? What is the difference between umbel and coryn?
Ma'am, in umbel they are not parallel. In coryn they are parallel to each other.
They are
Yes, we bolo.
alternately. They are
Alright.
present
So
in
they
the
are,
column.
they don't have a single point of origin for pedicel. Second is in umbel, all pedicels are of equal height. In case of coryn, it is not. Okay. This one is head and last one is capitulum. And this capitulum is present in sunflower. आप में से कभी किसी ने sunflower देखा है? I hope
Yes, ma'am.
I told
Yes,
you, I
ma'am.
think
Yes,
last time
ma'am.
that in sunflower, जिसे हम petals समझते हैं, they are actually bracts. Actual flowers are present at the center, where one disc-like structure is there on which the flowers are arranged. So these are actually flowers. जो yellow petals हम देखते हैं, they are actually bracts. Okay, so these are different types of racemose inflorescence. Is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So we will move ahead. So here examples are there. Raceme, there is radix. Adathoda is spike. Spikelet is present in grasses, any kind, wheat or grass. Catkin is present in oak plant. Spadix is present in musa. Musa is banana or colocasia. Colocasia is the plant which is used for patra. Okay. Then corium is present in cauliflower. ये तो आप कभी नहीं भूलोगे. Cauliflower मम्मी घर पे लाती है, देखा आपने? It's exactly
Yes,
like
ma'am.
corium. Let me go back. ऐसा होता है कि नहीं होता है cauliflower?
Yes, ma'am.
So umbel is present in coriander. Okay. And capitulum is present in sunflower, I told you. So now we will look into how they exactly look. So you can see that these are involucre. This is Hypanthodium. This is how spadix look. This is how catkin look. Spikelets. So this is how the flowers actually look. If you closely look into them, this is the structure they have. Okay. So next type of inflorescence that is there is called cymose inflorescence. Okay. So in cymose inflorescence, it is exactly opposite. Can anyone tell me that what is cymose inflorescence?
What, ma'am?
Cymose inflorescence, what it is? रेसिमोस से कुछ हटके ही होगा. रेसिमोस की डेफिनेशन क्या पढ़ी थी हमने? That it has indefinite growth, isn't it?
Yes.
It has indefinite growth. So what do you suspect will be the definition of cymose inflorescence?
Definite growth.
So how we can define growth of a flower? Okay.
Ma'am,
When, yes, proceed.
ma'am, till the new flower, till the old flower are not died, the new flower will not grow.
It's not like that. It is not like that. In case of cymose inflorescence, there is presence of a terminal flower. For example, if you take example of cymose inflorescence, what happens is beta. Consider this is the stalk from which there is branching. After branching for a few times, after a few tiers of branching, there will be presence of a terminal flower. So हमेशा यहाँ एक flower के हो जाने की वजह से what will happen is it cannot go indefinite. In case of umbel or in case of corin, you can have branching more than one time, more than two times. Isn't it? Yes or no? इसके केस में ये possible नहीं है. Why? Because in the third branching, it will not propagate, because in third branching, it will have the flower. Understood? So number of branching at a time cannot be more than 2. That's why cymose inflorescence is called definite inflorescence with a limited growth due to presence of apical bud. Understood? Here the flowers are arranged in a basipetal manner or basipetal succession. What do we mean by basipetal succession? So वहाँ कैसे था? In case of racemose, I am once again drawing because I want you people to understand the concept very easily. In case of racemose, if you look, the old flowers will be at the base always. Okay, and the new flower will be in the next branch. Here, old flower will be above and new flowers will be later on. And we also call it centrifugal. You know about centrifugal force. Here, if you look into these two branches, अगर आप ये ब्रांच और ये ब्रांच को देखोगे तो मार्जिन में कौन रह रहा है, न्यू फ्लावर्स या ओल्ड फ्लावर्स? Consider these heart shapes are new flowers. Who is going to stay in the margin? New or old?
New.
So that's why it is called centrifugal arrangement. So you can see this is the difference. So it's always old will be present at the base and new one will be present at the top. Why I am double marking? In दोनों में से this one is old. Out of these two, this one is old, this one is new. अब न्यू में से जो बन रहा है उसमें से एक ओल्ड होगा, जो न्यू होगा उसमें से फर्दर देयर विल बी branching. Okay, so this is what the difference between racemose and cyamus. Understand it very properly because many a times it is asked as a 2-mark question in a difference part, that what is the difference between cyamus and racemose. Okay, so let us see the variation of cyamus, the way. Okay, uniparous or helicoid, it's like a helix. Because why we call it uniparous? Because single branching is there, that's why we call it uniparous. And why helicoid? Because as branching is occurring only in one direction, that's why the stem will bend in a uh, cyclic manner. And this is called scorpioid because it is having this kind of structure where one old in from one branch there is another one, from one old there will be another. This is multiparous, the example I have given, and this is this is biparous, the example I talked about, and this is multiparous. So for cyamus less option is there, that's why they can be classified only majorly into these 4 types: uniparous, helicoid, scorpioid, biparous, and multiparous. So this is how they look actually. If you have a look into the flower, these are specialized type of inflorescence. I am going to come like for this later on. First, I want you people to confirm that this part is clear or not. Class, another picture I thought more you see, more it will be easy for you to understand. So you can see this one is helicoid, A and B. Okay, this is scorpoid, and this one is biparous. And that these are different types of racemose. And lastly we talked about tuberose. It is a type of cyamus inflorescence. So that is about the inflorescence which is normally visible in plants. Any doubts in this part, beta? Class? If not, then we will move towards the next part, that is spatial type of inflorescence. So what do we mean by spatial type of inflorescence? These are inflorescence which cannot be defined as racemose or cyamus. First of them is cyatheum. So what is the speciality of cyatheum? In case of cyatheum, the bract or involucre becomes fused to form a cup-shaped structure. Okay, it is quite present in case of Euphorbia family. Okay, आप अंजीर खाते हो? अंजीर देखा होगा आपने क्लास?
Yes, ma'am.
अंजीर के फ्लावर देखो, it is this type of structure. So what happens over here? The bract is converted into a cup-shaped structure, and the central part of this cup-shaped structure, female flowers is found, and these female flower matured earlier. So we call it protogyne. When in a structure, female parts mature first, we call it protogyne. Okay, so these female flower which is present at the central part, you can see here this cup-shaped part is the involucre, and at the center this is the female flower. I guess all of you can see my pointer, beta.
Yes, ma'am.
Let me mark. So this is the female flower. This is the female flower. You can see, I guess. Apart from that, there is male presence of male flowers which are actually surrounding the female flowers. Okay. Now, here the in case of male flowers, if you look into the structure, it will be like this. At the center, there will be one female flower, and towards the periphery, there will be all male flowers whose number is more than the female flower. Now, in this case, if you look, there are rows of female flowers and male flowers like this around the female flowers. Out of these male flowers, the one which is present at the center, which is more close to female flower, will mature first, and then the maturation will go towards the periphery. Okay. So if you look into flower, you will get confused because the whole flowers are not visible because they are present inside a cup-shaped structure. Okay. Second is verticellar type of inflorescence. So it is a cluster of subsessile to sessile 3 to 9 flower. Okay. They are present at the dichasial sign. So what do we mean by dichasial? Actually, this is observed in case of osmum. Osmum यानी तुलसी जो होती है, उसकी flowers कभी देखा है आपने? Class?
Yes, ma'am.
मैम वो छोटे छोटे डॉट
छोटे
टाइप
छोटे
ऐसे
डॉट्स
गोल
जो
स्ट्रक्चर
होते
होते
हैं,
हैं।
एक्चुअली फ्लावर्स आपको दिखता ही नहीं है। जब वो फ्लावर्स पे फ्रूट बन जाता है और सीड आते हैं, तब हम उनको देखते हैं। फ्लावर्स आर एक्चुअली ग्रीन इन कलर। ओके,
तो मैम वो तो पोलन्स नहीं हुए, वो जो डॉट लाइक स्ट्रक्चर होंगे वो
होंगे ना पोलन्स, दे आर देयर।
हाँ तो मैम वो जो बाहर येलो येलो गोल गोल स्ट्रक्चर्स दिखते हैं वही पोलन्स होंगे ना?
नहीं, pollens are very small beta. You cannot see it with naked eye in case of osmum.
ओके मैम।
So what is the speciality of this structure? It starts with the sessile flowers of dichasial sign and then end as a monochasial sign, and next they will have the racemose manner. So it is a perfect combination of cyamus and racemose. Okay, so that is what is the specification of verticellar type of inflorescence. Next is hypanthodium. It is observed in case of banyan trees or like Ficus bengaliensis. आप में से किसी ने banyan tree का flower नहीं ही देखा होगा. What happens over here? Here the peduncle, you know that in case of flower, there is a rachis or peduncle in which the flowers are to be mounted. It is modified into a cup-like structure. Do not get confused with cyathium and hypanthodium. Okay, in cyathium the cup-like structure is formed by bracts. Here it is formed by the peduncle. Okay, so here at the base of this cup, the female flower is present at the tip of the cup and male flowers are present at the base. And apart from that, all these types of flowers are staying together encased into a cup-shaped structure. Okay, so there can be mixed paddocks also. For example, in case of banana, There can be cyamus resin. These are all example of mixed inflorescence where partially cyamus, partially racemose inflorescence is observed. Now let us have a look into this type of inflorescence. You can see that this one is about verticellar. This is the arrangement of flower. This is cyathium. And this one is hypanthodium. Okay. So these are specialized inflorescence. Any doubts in any part which you think I need to discuss once again? Class? So if it is a big no, no doubt is there. I request you may get confused in these special type of inflorescence only. Go through. If you have any doubt, we can discuss once again. Okay, that's not a problem. So now we will move towards fruits. Okay, so what are fruits when they are formed? Class?
After fertilization.
So after fertilization, the life is present inside the fruit. प्लांट्स को हमसे बहुत प्यार है, इसीलिए वो फ्रूट प्रोड्यूस करते हैं, जैसे एप्पल, grapes. You can see so many types of fruits. Why they produce fruits? For our benefit or for their benefit?
Ma'am,
For
for
their
their
benefit.
मैम फॉर देयर बेनिफिट.
People have apple tree तो कभी
मैम
apple
फ्रूट
नहीं खाता है ना?
मैम फ्रूट्स के जो
Sorry,
सीड्स
ma'am?
हो गए वो डिस्पर्स हो गए और उसके बाद नया प्लांट आएगा, इसलिए उनका ही फायदा हो रहा है ना.
फ्रूट नहीं हुआ, सिर्फ सीड होता तो भी डिस्पर्स होता. कैसे? मतलब फ्रूट होने से क्या फायदा है? कभी सुना है कि मैंगो ट्री खुद अपना फल खा रहा है? तो उसको इतना स्वादिष्ट मैंगो बना के क्या फायदा होगा?
मैम
यस रुतु.
मैम मैम अगर वो स्वीट होंगे तो फिर उनका जो खाने वाले हैं तो फिर वो भी एक उनके सीड्स नेचर में डिस्ट्रीब्यूट करने के एक क्या बोलते हैं मीडियम बनेंगे और
अगर
बहुत सारे
लड़का
पॉपुलेशन
फल
होगा.
तो खाएगा भी नहीं, उसको लेके कहीं जाएगा भी नहीं. As it is sweet in taste, that's why birds, other animals, with human being, we think कि चलो भाई मेरे घर पे एक मैंगो का पेड़ मैं लगाऊं, या फिर एक जगह का मैंगो मैं दूसरी जगह लेके खा के जब फेंक रही हूँ गुठली उसकी, there will be dispersion of seed only. Yes, Yashvi.
मैम फ्रूट्स शायद वो सीड्स को प्रोटेक्ट करे.
Very good. This is another point that fruits are protecting the seed, but बेटा मेरा question ये था कि why they are tasty. The reason that they are tasty is because they are actually giving us bribe. They don't think about us कि हमें मैंगो खा के कितनी खुशी होगी. वो सोचते हैं कि if I am producing a good food, then it will help me in dispersion. So let us know about the fruit now. Okay. So what are fruits? The ovary part of the flower is modified by as a fruit. Now, fruit is not always formed by fertilization. Sometimes by parthenocarpy fruits are formed. अब आप पूछोगे कि कैसे? There are hormones like auxin, cytokinin, and gibberellin. I guess you heard about them in grade 10.
Yes, ma'am.
So these are the hormones which are responsible to induce parthenocarpy in plants, and that is the way by which fruits are produced. So अब question ही आता है, why we should go for parthenocarpy? What will be the benefit of using hormones to produce seedless fruits? अच्छा चलो, I ask you a question. How many of you consumed grapes? कितने
Yes,
लोगों ने
ma'am.
grapes खाया? सभी
Yes,
ने
ma'am.
खाया होगा ना? एक बड़ा
हाँ, ma'am.
yes सुनने को मिलना चाहिए. So have you ever wondered if grapes have any seed?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
तो कहाँ से ग्रेप्स इतने सारे मिलते हैं हमें? थोड़ी ना भंडार होगा जहाँ से ग्रेप्स ऊपर से गिरता होगा हम लेके आते. How they propagate? We propagate grape by cutting method. Stem cutting से
Ma'am?
उसको propagate करते हैं. Yes, Yashvi.
मैम आपने क्या बोला, वो रिपीट करो ना.
ग्रेप में अगर सीड नहीं है तो ग्रेप्स कहाँ से इतने सारे आते हैं? They don't reproduce. Have you ever thought?
No, ma'am.
बनाना प्लांट देखा है?
Yes, ma'am.
बनाना में सीड होता है?
No.
No, ma'am.
बनाना प्लांट रिप्रोड्यूस कैसे करता होगा अगर सीड नहीं होगा? एक नया बनाना प्लांट मिलेगा नहीं. तुम बनाना खाते हो, तुम्हारी मम्मी भी खाती थी, तुम्हारे नाना नानी भी खाते थे, तो तुम्हारी जनरेशन तो आगे बढ़े. बनाना प्लांट का कैसे आगे बढ़ा जनरेशन if they don't have seed? Have you ever thought?
नहीं,
No,
ma'am.
No, ma'am.
तो बेटा, no one likes seed. We are lazy. ग्रेप के अंदर सीड रहने से यार उसको वापस से निकालो, इसीलिए हम वो वैरायटी प्रेफर करते हैं जिसके अंदर सीड नहीं है. और आज सिचुएशन ऐसी हो गई है कि सीडेड बनानास, they are actually very small in size, and in West Bengal still date, if there is any puja, in that puja you have to give seeded banana only because it is thought to be शुभ, auspicious. So that's why I know, नहीं तो मुझे भी नहीं पता चलता कि बनाना में सीड भी होता है. So there are methods, there are reasons due to high demand of seedless fruits. Either we go for vegetative propagation of plants, or we go for parthenocarpy, where we are treating plants with various hormones to get seedless fruit, where ovary is modified into fruit even without fertilization. As there is no fertilization, so ovule will not be fertilized. That means the gamete present inside ovule will not be fertilized, it will not be modified into seed. Okay, so now I am going. Yes, Ayushi.
मैम ये जो आपने मेथड बोला तो वो हम लोग करते हैं या नेचुरल प्रोसेस से होती है?
See, it is a very valid question. In your next grade, that is grade 12, you will learn there is a natural method called parthenogenesis, where it is observed in case of some animals, also in plants also, where they do it by natural means. Okay, but when I am talking about parthenocarpy, it is generally induced by human for our selfish need of obtaining seedless fruit.
और मैम इनके केस में फिर ओव्यूल का क्या होगा, फर्टिलाइज नहीं होगा तो?
It is of no use. Seed नहीं फॉर्म होगा. Okay, now I am going to talk about false fruit, one of our most favorite food. बोलते हैं one of it a day will keep doctors away. Can you guess which?
Apple. Apple.
So apple is not actually a fruit, you know. Very sad to tell you about that. It is called a false fruit. Why? Because as apple is called a false fruit because the edible part of apple that we eat is not at all ovary, it is the thalamus. So if in case of any fruit, the part that we eat is not ovary, it is any other floral part, that is thalamus or petals or sepals, such type of fruits are called false fruit. and the fruit in case of which the edible part is ovary, we call it a true fruit. Okay. Now, if you look into a fruit, fruit will have mainly two parts. Okay. So let us have a look into parts of fruit. These are example of parthenocarpic fruit. You know, nowadays it is said that you should not eat the seeds of tomato. Many a
Yes,
यस
time,
ma'am.
मैम
हाँ,
मैम वो पथरी होती है.
बोले कितना अच्छा, झमेला ही नहीं. So you can see here in this image how parthenocarpic tomatoes look like. Okay, but remember one thing, beta, we are modifying something in nature, but we should keep the previous timeline also. ऐसा ना हो सीडलेस के कोशिश में हम इतना भागे कि सीडेड वैरायटी हम भूल जाए, because loss of genotypic diversity is bad. Okay, so if you look in a fruit, these are the part. Outermost part is known as epicarp, then the mesocarp. Inside that there is endocarp. Inside endocarp there is a seed. I always tell to my students that once you eat mango, you take that inner part. Many people think that is the seed. It's not the seed. Inside that a seed is there. गुठली को आप अगर सन ड्राई करो, उसके बाद उसको ऐसे हिलाना, देखना अंदर खट 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 करके आवाज आती है.
यस मैम.
हाँ मैम.
That seed is moving actually. Okay, so it's not necessary. For example, you can see that in mango all four parts are there. In case of coconut, the epicarp part is different. It's differently visible. So you can see here, it's a very good image. That's why I kept it. If you break the endocarp, then inside that the seed is present. Okay.
मैम
Yes, beta.
मैम ऐसा हाइब्रिड खाने से, जैसे आपने बोला पार्थेनोकार्पिक टोमेटोज आते हैं, तो ऐसे तो मतलब लंबे टाइम पे प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा?
लंबे टाइम पे तब प्रॉब्लम होगा जब हम जीनोटाइपिक डाइवर्सिटी को लूज करेंगे. समझो ये पार्थेनोकार्पिक टोमेटोज आर वेरी हाई इन डिमांड इन मार्केट, बट कंसीडर करो एक सिचुएशन जहां एक डिजीज आया है ऐसा टोमेटो प्लांट का, दे आर नॉट रेजिस्टेंट टू इट, then you will have a problem. That's why it is suggested not to lose genetic diversity. Okay, everything is having problem, beta. Online classes are having their own problems, but some people are taking advantage of it. Some people are just logging in and sleeping in the class. Depends on person to person. You know the first person who discovered dynamite? Do you know the story of Alfred Nobel? क्यों उन्होंने नोबेल प्राइज दी थी?
मैम नाम सुना है लेकिन पता नहीं है.
मैम मैं बताऊं?
बताओ, ऋतु बताएगी हमें. चलो
मैम, क्योंकि उनको लगा कि उनकी डिस्कवरी ने कुछ अच्छा नहीं किया है जनरेशन के लिए, ऊपर से वो एक कर्स बनती जा रही है.
वेरी गुड. सो एक्चुअली उन्होंने डायनामाइट इसलिए आविष्कार किया था कि कंसीडर, मुझे पहाड़ों के नीचे से एक टनल बनाना है. इट टेक इयर्स टू रिमूव मैनुअली द स्टोन्स एंड क्रिएट अ टनल. डायनामाइट ये काम बहुत जल्दी कर सकता है. अब उन्होंने तो ऐसा सोच के किया था. आइंस्टाइन ने जब E=mc² का रूल दिया था, he thought of utilizing energy of atoms to produce energy in our day-to-day life, है ना? बट उसी फॉर्मूला
Yes,
को
ma'am.
यूज करके किसी ने एटम बम बना दिया. सो इट डिपेंड्स ऑन पर्सन टू पर्सन. Every kind of discovery is having their own benefit and disadvantage. So let us get back to the discussion. Here we are talking about fruit. It is having two parts. One is pericarp. Pericarp is called the fruit world, and the seed. Now, depending on fruit, the pericarp can be further subdivided into epicarp, which is the leathery skin present in fruit. Mango का जो छिलका है. Mesocarp, which is the juicy part that we eat, and endocarp, it is the stony part. Okay. जैसे आप अगर कोकोनट में देखेंगे, so the shell of coconut is the endocarp. Okay. So in some cases, this much differentiation of pericarp into epicarp, mesocarp, and endocarp may not be present. For example, pea plant may, या beans plant may, you cannot see this demarcation clearly. Okay. Inside pericarp, there is presence of seed. Okay. So now we will talk about classification of fruits. Fruits can be simple. When there will be simple presence of simple fruit? When we are talking about a type of fruit where there is monocarpal or polycarpillary part is present, but it doesn't have the other floral parts. Matlab, what will happen here is it has a single fruit. It is having a single fruit. For example, pea is a simple fruit. Okay. Here you can see that this ladyfinger is a single fruit. So it's not in a bunch. Just a grape it's not a simple fruit. Have you ever seen one grape isolated?
No, ma'am.
Okay. I got you understand. Now it can be further subdivided into dry. For example, in case of ladyfinger, it is dry. And fleshy fruit like tomato, guava, mango, these are fleshy fruit. Now these dry fruits can be further classified into dehiscent and indehiscent. What is this? If the fruit, once they are developed, they break by themselves. For example, in case of leguminous plant, they break down by themselves and seeds are getting dispersed. We call them dehiscent fruit. But in case of this ladyfinger, they do not dehiscent by themselves. We need to like break them down artificially. Okay. Now, once again, I am repeating so that you understand that simple fruit can be classified into dry and fleshy. Dry can be classified into dehiscent, which get broken down naturally, and indehiscent, which doesn't break naturally. Now we will talk about the fleshy fruit. Fleshy fruit may be always they are always indehiscent. Why? Because they don't dry. They don't dry. They are fleshy, so they don't dry easily. They can be further subdivided into drupe. For example, if you can see, this is example of a drupe where single seed is there, and berry. Berry are fruits where more than one seed is there. So tomato is a berry. Can you give me example of a drupe class where single seed is there at the middle part? बोलो, हम सभी खाते हैं वो fruit. Fleshy fruit with single seed. Class. Simple बेटा बोलो. Mango. Mango, yes, mango. It's mango only. You can see here so many types of simple fruits are mentioned. You can see. Okay. So now we will talk about composite fruit, which is not a single fruit. In this case, the whole inflorescence is converted into a fruit. Okay. For example, pineapple. You can clearly see the demarcations present in pineapple. What do you call this one?
Sitafal.
Sita. It is example. You can see if you are eating sitafal, you get one seed only, beta. How many seeds you get? It's having
Ma'am,
many.
there are the number of seeds
Okay.
equal.
So that's why it is polycarpillary gynoecium is forming the aggregate of fruit. Okay. So carpels, if they are free, then they will form fruitlets. Fruitlets means, for example, custard apple. It's like custard apple is called sitafal. It whole thing is covered. It's not having fruitlets inside which the whole fruit is combined. But in case of fruitlets, they can be isolated. So jackfruit is the case where you can clearly see the fruitlets, and this is the also another example of composite fruit, that is pineapple. Okay, so these are the further classification you can see here. So in aggregate type of fruit, its example is grapes. You can see the aggregate type of fruit in case of grapes. So that is all about fruits beta. Here in this image, it is very clearly visible the difference between simple, aggregate and multiple. You understood what type of inflorescence will give you what type of fruit? Class? I
Yes.
guess my screen is visible.
Yes, ma'am.
So here are further subdivision of fruits that you can see that the fleshy fruit, which is a type of simple fruit, can be subdivided into drupe and berry. Okay, and I told you in berry, date palm can be there. Pepo is also a type of fruit. It is, for example, in case of this one, the cucumber, it's a type of pepo fruit where parietal placentation is there. The whole placenta the structure is converted into fruit.
નેતાની મેટી મમ્મી
He can
કેટલો ખરાબ કે મેં
So, in case of pome, which is a false fruit like apple and pear, the main part of ovary is present inside the fruit, and the fruit that we eat is something different. Here, Hesperidium is a type of fruit which is, in case of lemon or citrus fruit, are Hesperidium. So such kind of detailing is generally not asked, but just for your reference, I am talking about all these things. You can have a look into all these types of fruits. I wish to show you this image. It will be more understandable. So this is these are drupes. These are follicle, which are types of like dehiscent fruits. Then legume is there. Capsule is also a type of dehiscent fruit. And then you can have grains like rice and others. This is called akis. This is nut. Aggregate types of fruit which is observed in case of grapes. Or blackberry is aggregate types of fruits. Mulberry is multiple fruit, and this is apple, which is a false fruit. So this is all about it. So after learning about the fruit, we will talk about the seed. Okay, because inside fruit, the life is present inside seed. So inside seed, what is there? Seed is having covering called seed coat. Okay. In case of dicot plant, it is having two cotyledon. In case of monocot plant, it is having single cotyledon. So all these things, that is seed coat and the cotyledons, are keeping embryo at the center. You can see in the diagram of this structure that in a seed, inside ovule, there is a pore called micropyle. Micropyle is the pore through which the male gametes enter into the ovule. So inside this micropyle, this pore is responsible for entry of water. Whenever you are soaking chana into water, you can see after some time this well, they become soft. Isn't it? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
So micropyle is the entry point of the water. Obviously, some hygroscopic material is also present. They also absorb water. Now, the seed coat is having two layers. It can be called as testa and tegmen. Apart from these role of micropyle for the entry of water, it is also the exit point of the root. In chana, you must have observed the root comes first, then the shoot. Isn't it? Yes, chana और मूंग में कौन पहले निकलता है? root. Class?
Moong.
Root is coming through this micropyle. Okay. So there are two types of seed. One is called endospermic seed, where the endosperm is not present. Why? Because it's like it's consumed totally by the embryo, and there can be non-endospermous seed where endosperm is not present, and in case of endospermic seed, endosperm is present. For example, in case of bean or gram, endosperm is totally consumed by the embryo. And non-endospermic seed like brassica, that is rye, endosperm is present. So in case of monocot seed, they don't have two cotyledons. Okay. The speciality of monocot seed is they have a extra part which is a large shield-like structure which is called scutellum. Then they have a proteinaceous layer called alluron layer. So in case of dicot seed, they have seed covering which can be divided into testa and tegmen, and the cotyledons. Inside cotyledon, there is radicle, plumule and embryo, which are part of embryo axis only. In monocot seed, there is a single cotyledon. So it can protect the internal part from one side. What about the other side? Other side, there will be a big shield-like structure that is called scutellum. And in case of monocot, the radicle and plumule is having one extra covering. The covering of radicle is called coleorhiza, and the radicle of plumule is the covering of plumule is called coleoptile. So the radicle is covered by coleorhiza and plumule is covered by coleoptile. These are extra what I can say covering of which is present in case of monocot seed. So it can also come as a 2-marker question, that what is the difference between the dicot and monocot seed. So you can see this is the seed coat, this is the alluron layer which is made up of protein, this is the endosperm, this is scutellum, And you can see that radicule is having foliorhiza and plumule is having coleoptile. Okay, so that is about the fruits. So we are done with the fruits, and I wish to share the structures. Here some more images. In our next lecture, we will go for the floral formula and floral diagram. Okay, it is very difficult to describe about the structure of flower and write the description. We can easily know about the structure of flower, which is characteristics. But flower is the means by which we can identify the family of something, the family of plant. Flower is a very important, visible and remarkable characteristic features of a family by which we can identify the family of plant. That is why we need to learn the floral formula of different family and how to write so much information in a very short manner, whereby simply using symbols you can easily depict that what is the role of what type of structure. Understood? How many calyx are there? How many corolla are there? Instead of writing and describing them into sentence, how to describe them about symbol is the topic of our discussion. So as always, we will conclude our class with a video. It's like kind of web series where we are seeing the series of video. Single big video we are looking part. So without any alteration, we will move back with the same video we are seeing since the first day of lecture. So can we look into it? Class, is the screen visible?
Yes,
ma'am.
So we will move ahead.
On the floral axis is called inflorescence.
Good grammar and spelling are important, but if you want to write essays that inspire,
Not
messages that forge brighter connections, and emails that get the job done, you need
fluorescence only.
Depending on whether the apex of the floral axis is converted into a flower or continues to grow, two major types of inflorescences are defined: racemose and cymose. In racemose inflorescence, the flowers appear laterally in acropetal succession, that is, from the base to the top of the main axis. Therefore, the main axis or stalk continues to grow at the tip. However, in cymose inflorescence, the flowers appear in basipetal order or grow in succession from the apex to the base of the main axis. Here, the main axis ends in a flower and further development takes place by the growth of lateral branches. Therefore, apart from being the most beautiful and attractive part of a plant, a flower contributes to the process of reproduction and helps in the perpetuation of species. A flower is the most beautiful and attractive part of a plant that contributes to the process of reproduction. Typically, a flower has four whorls: calyx, corolla, androecium, and gynoecium. The outermost wall is the calyx, which consists of sepals that are green, leaf-like structures that protect the flower in its bud stage. The sepals can be either free or united. When free, the calyx is called polysepalous, and when united, the calyx is called gammosepalous. The next inner wall is the corolla, which consists of petals that are usually thin and soft. There is a wide variety in the color and shape of the corolla. It can be in the shape of a wheel, funnel, or bell, and is sometimes tubular. The primary function of the corolla is to attract insects and birds for pollination. Like the calyx, the petals of the corolla can be either united or free. When united, the corolla is called gammopetalous, and when free, it is called polypetalous.
So
The arrangement of the sepals and petals,
by us, so I'm skipping that part.
innermost wall, is the gynoecium,
We move ahead.
central, and marginal, or dry, as in hazel,
So we will
watermelon, banana, and orange. Parthenocarpy can be a natural process or may be artificially induced. Once fertilization takes place in a flower, the ovary ripens to form the fruit and the ovules form the seeds. Typically, a fruit is made up of two parts: the pericarp and the seed. The pericarp is the fruit wall, and it can be thick and fleshy as in mango, or dry as in hazelnut. In the mango, the pericarp is differentiated into three distinct layers: the epicarp, which is the outermost layer or peel; the mesocarp, which is the thick, pulpy middle layer; and the endocarp, which is the innermost layer that directly surrounds the seed. Fruits such as mango and peach are also called drupes. Drupes are single-seeded fleshy fruits that develop from monocarpellary superior ovaries. Apart from the pericarp, the other part of a fruit is the seed. Based on the number of cotyledons, the seeds of flowering plants are classified as dicotyledonous and monocotyledonous. A seed with two cotyledons is called dicotyledonous, and with a single cotyledon is called monocotyledonous. In a dicotyledonous seed, the outermost covering is the seed coat and is made up of two layers: the outer testa and the inner tegmen. The seed coat also has a scar on its surface called the hilum, which helps attach the seed to the fruit. Above the hilum is the micropyle, a small pore in the outer coat of the seed. It is through the micropyle that the pollen tube enters an ovule. Inside the seed coat lies the embryo, which comprises an embryonal axis and two cotyledons. At the two ends of the embryonal axis lie the plumule and the radicle. The cotyledons are often fleshy and store reserve food materials. In some seeds, such as castor, the developing embryo is surrounded by a nutritive tissue called the endosperm, which stores food and helps the embryo grow. Seeds with endosperm are called endospermic. Whereas in seeds like mango, the endosperm is absent, such seeds are called non-endospermic. Like dicotyledonous seeds, the outermost covering of monocotyledonous seeds is also known as the seed coat. For example, the maize seed has a membranous seed coat that is usually fused with the fruit wall. Moreover, like dicotyledonous seeds, monocotyledonous seeds can be endospermic as in maize or non-endospermic, as in Cymodocea. The endosperm of maize is bulky and stores food, while the embryo is tiny and is placed in a grove at one end of the endosperm. The embryo is separated from the endosperm by a proteinous layer known as the aleuron layer and is made up of a single large shield-shaped cotyledon called the scutellum. The embryo also has a short axis with a plumule and a radicle. The plumule is enclosed by a sheath called the coleoptile, and the radicle by a sheath called the coleorhiza. Thus, seeds are formed from the ovules and help in reproduction, while a fruit is formed from the ovary and is the characteristic feature of flowering plants. Technical descriptions of plants are very useful in the study of floral morphology and help taxonomists in the easy identification and classification of plants. The technical description of
So we are done with the part called fruit and flower. So in our next lecture, as I said already, that we will look into the technical chemical formula, not chemical formula, it is floral formula, which describes the plant in a very short manner by identification of the plant. Any question, anyone, beta? Class? Okay, then it's a bye then from my side. We will meet next time in our lecture. And as you are having weekend, so I'm guessing you are going to view the lectures and come up with some doubts. And we can discuss doubts at the beginning of our next lecture. Okay, beta? Bye. Bye to all of you.
Bye, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.